Halo Outreach Podcast to keep you up to date with everything going on in Halo. Yo!
Yo, welcome everybody to the Halo Outreach Podcast, episode number 19. And I'm your boy Patman Gaming, along with sick KevinKoolx here. Oh God, sniffles.
That's exactly what I want to hear on the audio version.
Right.
Oh,
we are excited to bring you guys another episode. A lot to talk about. Huge blog post. My ears are all messed up. Huge blog post to talk about. God, Kevin just threw up in his mouth. And we're going to talk about a lot of other cool, interesting topics, along with some cool information about Halo 5's skill gap from Menke himself. Damn you, Menke. A couple of cool deleted things from Halo CE that Marcus Leto tweeted out that we're going to talk about. A new fan-made remake of Blood Gulch in Unreal Engine 4 will be a topic of discussion. And then, of course, we will talk to you guys about Halo 5 and MCC playlist updates. But first, besides feeling like absolute crap, Kevin, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Just trying to hang in there. Just all types of congestion happening here. My eye, if you can see on stream, is just like bloodshot.
Yeah.
But I'm powering through it. The people deserve the podcast, and we're gonna give it to them. But gaming wise, just been playing a lot of Halo, going through my Reach postpartum depression, and just trying to figure out life until the 3rd. From then,
which were like 2 weeks away from the launch of Reach. This is crazy.
But less than that, actually. What?
Yeah, less.
It's like at the moment
days.
of recording this podcast, that's a week and like 3 days. By the time the podcast releasing, basically a week, yeah. Which is crazy.
I say 10 days. Kevin says a week and 3 days. You know, whatever. Just disregard what I say. But
I'm sick, man. I can't think.
No
I'm trying my
comprende.
best right now. But gaming wise, what did we do? We played MCC, played some Halo 5 as well. Sweated out little doubles with Jimbo, and he actually had a pretty good time. I was able to grind up from Plat 2, I think I placed originally, and now up to Plat 6 in one play session, so that was cool.
Nice.
I thought the season reset already happened with Halo 5, like earlier this month.
It was, early November. Or no, May. It might have been. I thought they were going to do it in December, actually. So it might be coming.
That's probably it then. Because I know it's coming around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then also played some Halo 3 and Halo 2 Anniversary on MCC the other night with your boy Jimbo as well. And then just like Worm Dog just came in, which is like an absurd amount of support, which I can't thank him enough for that. It's just insane for that. But I'm also thinking about on Tuesday to do a Titanfall 2 campaign stream.
Ooh, did you buy it?
I've had it since like launch on PC. I just never really got into it because I thought people were like, "Oh my god, the multiplayer is so much better than the last one." And then I played it, like it's like the exact same thing.
I think it's inferior to part 1, but the campaign's freaking amazing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna definitely play through the campaign because I've heard people are like, "Oh my god, this campaign is like Pog Champ
You're
for
gonna
days."
love it. Yeah.
And so I'm actually trying to see if I can maybe finish it within that night or something. But yeah, definitely gonna give that a go on PC. And tested it out. Yeah, I should be able to stream it as well. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, Pat, what have you been up to in the last weeks and last podcast? What you been gaming? What you been up to? Everything in between?
Not much gaming this week. Sticking to Halo 5 grind. We'll be catching up through some XP tonight. Be grinding all night on some XP. Trying to get to 150 by the end of the month. Try to stay on track here. But we did pass 1,000 subs on YouTube, so I partied.
Congrats, man. The first 1,000 is definitely the hardest to get.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see where the channel goes.
Cool. How many did you start out this year? Wasn't it like 300 or something you started out with?
I started out with 0 this year. I started in January.
Oh, damn.
So
that's crazy, dude.
10 months in, we're at 1,000.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on that.
Thank you, sir. Well
worth the grind, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you can monetize that shit. Time for
Yeah,
some
I applied
clickbait.
already. Hell yeah. Every video's gonna be over 10 minutes long from now on, people.
The
Suck
best
it.
10 minutes of 1 second content you can find on YouTube.
Put a timestamp at like 8 minutes is where the video actually starts. Uh,
You ever see
um,
Pat with like thumbnails of like,
yeah,
yeah, Pat's gonna go full
but
YouTuber.
exactly. No, I can't sell myself like that. I ain't gonna whore myself out there just yet. But we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into
Yeah.
the Reach development update. This was a huge blog post that Postums posted yesterday.
Only huge is an
Let's
understatement too. This thing is
yeah,
massive.
yeah, massive.
Like it just like doesn't stop.
It really does it. Like you could just scroll. Like on mobile, it's the worst. I'm like, geez, Louise, how long is this freaking update?
I read
'Cause
through it and it literally took me like an hour to read through this whole thing.
yeah,
It's just like so much. You can make like a week's worth of videos, a month's worth of videos just based on this
exactly.
thing. But yeah,
So
so much content.
they talked about basically, besides there being a really dope picture of Noble Six's, I think that's Noble Six's helmet. It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like it. Um, they talked about the XO19 announcement, basically, how, like we've covered before, Reach is releasing December 3rd, people. If you guys didn't know, on Xbox and on PC. They did reiterate a couple things about the flight, the recent flight that me and Kevin covered a lot of, that ended on the 18th. And one of the interesting things, they gave some facts, like there was like over 3,000 individual tickets via the support site. So that was cool. They definitely got a lot of feedback. And they're definitely going to talk about some of these issues further. They're already testing some of them. They're going to flight further issues later down the line when they prepare to patch some things in. But a lot of our, or at least, a lot of my complaints, or I should say worries about the launch of Halo on PC have been basically alleviated now. Like it's most of the stuff that they were kind of murky or kind of not really specific on last week, they said, all right, well, this is going to be ready at launch, or this isn't going to be ready at launch. We're going to test it a little bit after. But the mouse input issues, they said that they're going to continue changing that post launch. But right now, the build that they have is a few weeks ahead of what we've tested with the last flight. And they're pretty happy with the things that have, basically transpired since then. So it should be in an overall great state come December 3rd. So mouse input was one of the biggest things. So that's looking to be just about fixed, and they're going to continue to try to fine tune it. Controller aim assist, they said they're not planning on changing anything, but um, a lot of communities been talking about an opt-in feature, much like Modern Warfare has done with the controller versus keyboard and mouse. But they're trying to basically see how that would affect the player base and the population. They have to basically take that into consideration. So I wouldn't expect any changes to that until after launch. And then the other big thing, VFR, variable frame rate, that is going to be included at launch. And they put this in bold in the update. So that this was a big thing, especially for me. We talked about this last week, but we're both console players. We're happy with 60 frames, but I thought as a whole the PC community would not be very accepting to 60 frame cap. And I've got a lot of people that commented on my videos, saying that, yeah, that's unacceptable, blah, 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 blah. So that is good to know that variable refresh rate will be included at launch. And they wanted to give people that option day one, and they look forward to the feedback, blah, 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 blah. So, and then servers were another big thing. And they already said they're gonna upgrade the servers for December 3rd's launch, but that they're also looking at maybe a server selection option, which would be really cool to give players that kind of, I guess, freedom to choose their servers. That's pretty dope. So there's a bunch of little stuff like VSync, all that stuff, but we don't really have to dig too much into that. What do you think about the input latency, the variable frame rate, all that good stuff?
When it comes to the mouse controls, after they patched it mid-flight, I actually thought the controls felt just fine. Yeah, I've had
Mhm.
other people say the same thing. I know, like I mentioned talk to Talkman about it as well during his stream, and he was saying like after the patch, he's like, yeah, I don't really notice much of a difference of like input latency or anything like that. I mean, let me rephrase that, saying like he's not really noticing much of an input latency, so he doesn't really know what people are talking about. I'm sure it kind of comes with different hardware setups and things like that, certain mouses and DPIs and things like that, probably, and different PC setups. Because with PC
Mhm.
launch, obviously, there's so much more to take in consideration and that kind of stuff. Because everyone has a unique build basically to their PC, and so from my experience, mouse keyboard felt pretty good after the patch, and I think it also just kind of comes to learning how to shoot with mouse and keyboard with Reach.
Yeah.
Because Halo is like no game plays like Halo when it comes to shooting, like the type of shooting and strafing that you need to do. Because most of the times, like all the games I've ever played on keyboard and mouse are like, games where you just need to kind of aim for the body and you get kills.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about like body shot, headshot, and strafing left and right and stuff like that. So towards the end of the flight, I was kind of noticing like using my directional keys more for like the macro movements of aiming, and then using my mouse to kind of do the micro movements, which I
Mhm.
noticed I was kind of helping quite a bit, which is kind of the same idea you do with controller anyways.
Yep.
And so definitely want to. So just I think it just takes to getting used to, since like I'm sure many people haven't really played Halo on PC since what, like 2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
um Also with variable frame rate, I think they mentioned something saying that like they will have it available, but they do have like a warning with it or something like that, saying like you may have experience with like uh your experience may change with variable frame rate on or something like that. I remember reading something like that on the post.
Uh, they just said that it was an experimental implementation of
Mm,
VFR in the flight, and it didn't meet their quality expectations, but they think they got it under wraps now. So um, they said there's showing very
mm.
promising results, and it's in Ring 1 and 2 flighting right now.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure they can be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I'm gonna be playing this, I'm be most likely streaming it, which I best I can do is 1080p 60 FPS. So I'm not gonna really stress about trying to do extra frame rates on top of that.
Right.
Um, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, I would like to probably play on my own, especially for the campaign, and just bump up like 120 frames and then just like be oogling over the visuals of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I plan to just turn the res all the way up and just uncap it on the campaign.
Oh yeah. But I was actually also kind of looking through this update here, and they mentioned a lot about Forge and a lot of custom game content coming
Yeah.
with the game. And I think they said that the user-generated content is going to be available day one, right?
Yep.
All the
Yep. All that the
maps,
stuff from the file transfer will be
yeah.
available day one for
So
both PC and Xbox
all your maps, all your
and
modes
game modes. Yep.
are going to be available day one. So I'm sure will kind of supplement the Forge and not being available day one. They
Yeah,
do,
that was like the whole idea. Yeah.
yeah, and also plus you got the modding community on top of that, which I've already
Right.
started them go crazy with that. Like yeah, I know Game Cheat's really big into that, and I can't remember what that guy's name is, but he's also been doing a lot of mod stuff. I saw him kill just like an entire room full of MOAs.
Oh my
I think
god.
it was something saying like if like, it was a tweet saying like if it doesn't get like X amount of like retweets, the MOAs get it. And he didn't meet the
Jeez.
number, and so he posted up the video of him killing all the MOAs.
That's awesome.
Like something like that. Just like funny stuff like that you can pull off. Or like, I saw someone like doing like a bunch of the long swords, right? The spaceship that you fly in Reach's campaign, right? Or something like that.
No, not a long sword. It's that's the thing that Chief escapes in the the Halo
Sabers.
one. Sabers. Yep.
Yes. I saw like a dogfight mode.
Shout out
There you go. I saw like a
Buffalo
dog.
Sabers.
I saw like an awesome like dogfight mode, like an 4v4 like dogfight mode
I did see
using
that, dude.
sabers
Yeah,
on
that's
in
cool.
Forge World. Like that's
Hmm.
awesome. Can't pull
Yeah,
that off with Forge. So yeah, even though Forge is not going to be there at release, I'm sure we'll have access to plenty of content. And
on
plus
PC.
on
Yeah.
PC, yeah, it's also on just PC.
Yeah.
And if I would hope that Steam Workshop would be an option for this as well, because if people upload their mods to Steam Workshop, all you gotta do is just click download,
Yeah, makes it
and
very
it puts it
easy.
right
Yeah.
into your game super easy. That'd be amazing. I'd really like to see like what people do with like, especially I'm looking more forward to like graphical updates when it comes to the Reach campaign. and see what like
Yeah.
different using different lighting, enhancing the lighting engine, the textures, maybe play as a grunt or something like that. I've seen also people play Team Slayer as a grunts.
Yeah.
So modding community is gonna be huge on this.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the beauty of Halo, right? Like is custom user created content. We've enjoyed that on Xbox just from Forge. When you're unlocking mods on PC, it takes it to just a freaking insane level. And the Halo community is one of the most creative communities out there. I mean, that's proof in the weekly freaking Halo Spotlight that 343 does. The community is freaking awesome. So
Mhm.
that is by far the most exciting thing, and that's scary for me because I gotta stay focused on the Halo 5 grind, man. This could be way too distracting.
That's why I've already given up.
Yeah.
I know I knew I wasn't gonna get 152, but I recently hit 152 subs on Twitch. So boom, that's my 152 grind.
Awesome. Cool.
Oh yeah, but like they also mentioned a bunch of new. The reason why it's taking so long with Forge is because they're looking to kind of even go above and beyond what
Right.
the original offering of Forge on PC. This also mentioned like a lot like controls, or for some reason are very different when it comes to like your regular keyboard and mouse inputs. They are working out a lot with that. A lot of people are saying they've seen a lot of improvements. Some people are saying it's still kind of wonky within the bit different builds. But like I can go to the desktop here and show off like it's supposed to have this picture of just like all the different kind of like cool stuff we're looking to add into. I think it's all new stuff. I think they're adding into the Forge, that one screenshot that they shared in there. Like it's all just stuff
Yeah.
that wasn't originally in there, which is pretty awesome to see. Just all this different content. I think it was help with like the modding community kind of help put this whole thing together as well. Um, that one's like they got like different vehicles, gadgets, different sceneries, structures, and things like that right here. Just a whole bunch of extra stuff. So that's not looking like to just be a straight copy and pasta from Reach's Forge, but looking to go above and beyond to give people more than expected. Because I'm sure that
Yeah.
if they're going to be doing any kind of Forge content, it's probably going to be in Reach when it comes to MCC now moving forward.
Hmm.
So they probably want to make sure that's a top-notch quality right there.
Yeah. Let's talk about something that's kind of big in the update as well, which was the seasonal rewards.
Oh yes.
Um, yeah, this was pretty big because they went into detail. I'm going to read out this sentence there because it kind of sticks out to me. But uh, it says that they're bringing, and we talked about this before. They've mentioned this before. They're going to bring challenges to MCC, and that would be another way to earn seasonal points. They're also changing how the rewards are basically displayed in the UI because people complain like, "Hey, I would like to see what I'm unlocking." So they've made those changes. But the thing that really sticks out to me, like I said, is says in Halo MCC will be bringing in more ways to earn seasonal points via challenges, along with all new items in Halo MCC in the future. And that could mean anything, but just that they're bringing new items is pretty cool. Um, they're just still continuing to support MCC, and I really feel like they must be watching our videos, Kevin, or
They
they
have
must be
to.
watching the
Oh yeah.
podcast because like a
Mhm.
lot of the things that we've brought up are being addressed. They already addressed the variable frame rate, which we talked about a lot last week with and I also mentioned how much I loved the credit system from Reach, and because it gave players choice. And it they said in that blog post, the team is currently investigating additional ways to offer choices in how content unlocks going forward, and that a lot of players had feedback about that kind of stuff, and that they acknowledged that, and I thought that was really cool. So I was like, yeah, yeah, they're totally watching Hop. So shout out to whoever's watching Hop at 343.
Postums.
You know,
Gotta be.
yeah, Postums. Got to be Postums. Jeff Easterling,
Yeah.
John Friend, shout out. But we knew that they're gonna have to offer other ways to unlock seasonal points because how many ranks are you got a point for each rank. So there's not more than 100 ranks. At least I wouldn't think. So there had to be other ways, and the way that they're going to tackle that forward is going to be really cool because that was kind of one of my main criticisms of Halo 5 is like the challenge system. I missed that Reach challenge system. I thought the commendations and that and stuff were really cool the way that was done. So I hope to see something similar to that lines in MCC. They haven't really given us any details on how the challenges will look, but I'm hoping for weekly, daily challenges, things like that to keep a player coming back. What do you
Mm.
think about that?
I love the challenge system, which was really just any kind of shooter. Like it just helps create so much more replayability.
Yeah.
Just give like a little XP boost, and so then you can unlock your things faster. Like all for that, 100%. So I know that you mentioned about like how people wish they had the ability to kind of like pick and choose what they want to unlock, kind of like with the old Reach style. But it sounded
Hmm.
like they were kind of like, well, we're open to the idea, but the way we have things, the way it sounded like it was like, well, the way things are now, you can't really do that, so we'll look into it.
Yeah.
But it still sounds like
Yeah.
you still have to go step by step to
Oh yeah,
unlock
you're gonna
everything.
have to do that for now, but I can't imagine how the hell they would change that. But it's cool that they are acknowledging that they're gonna somehow look into a way to
And I hope that
change the way it's implemented.
the leveling up when it comes to XP rewards is a little bit more generous than it originally was. I
Yeah,
remember like it took me like literally like 35 hours to grind through tier 1, and there's 10 tiers. And so like and the higher up in tiers you get, the more XP you need, no, and exponentially. And so then just like next linearly going up. And so then like I did the math like and underestimated the math, and it was still absurd. So I think I know that they removed the progression system last like week of the PC flighting, but I think that was just so they can kind of like use the data that they receive to kind of work out the right ratios, which they said they are working on as well, to find the right ratio of game time to unlock. Obviously you don't want everything to unlock within like the first week, but you also don't want it to take 2 years to unlock everything.
yeah. Which was like I don't know if you played it. I think it was the Monday before the patch went live, but they had changed the way
Mm.
the XP was earned, and it felt a lot quicker to
Oh
me
yeah, well, it was a
before they
lot.
took it away.
It's like
Yeah.
doubled
So
at
yeah,
least.
exactly. But that was kind of the main criticism, and 3 for 3 has kind of been on both sides of the extreme. Like you just said, you don't want it to take a couple weeks to unlock, but you don't want it to take it 2 years. Halo 4 was like the quickest game I've ever max ranked in. It was like a month and a half or 2 months because of all those Doritos and Mountain Dew XP codes. Uh, Literally max rank in like a month and a half, 2 months. And Halo 5, even though I took a big break from that game, I think is way too long to reach
Yeah,
max
you
rank.
had to do some kind of some cheesy techniques to kind of get 152 in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Reach kind of was the same way. Inheritor was, and then I feel like I played a lot of Reach, and I think I was just like a hero or something like that. I can't remember which rank I was, but
I would
yeah,
think you'd want to
insane
have
amount of time.
it be like, I don't know, like an 8 months worth of game time grind
Yeah,
to get everything in Reach. At least that would be my opinion when it comes to unlocks of everything. Because
yeah,
since you are gonna be able to hop back and forth between the different seasons of what you want to unlock and things like that. So it depends how much they want people to interact with the other seasons as well, and what they're going to be able to bring in.
mm,
Um, if they're going to add new armor sets to Halo 3 or something like that, which would be crazy.
yeah, would be awesome.
Then yeah, I can see that grind being a little bit more. But I would assume you'd be able to get through each season if they had the same amount of content, which I would doubt they would. But to be like
Yeah,
every
Reach would
three
have to have
months,
the most.
yeah, it would have.
Um,
It's got to have the most content for sure when it comes to
yeah,
season pass. Yeah, I couldn't imagine CE being much of a content-rich season pass.
you unlock the color black for your
Yeah, right.
Spartan.
Something like that, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
oh my god, yeah. People, I think people would be a little upset when they saw like you get to unlock colors,
yeah.
right?
I can't imagine what they're gonna do with
Oh
that.
god,
That should be interesting.
but yeah. Uh, so yeah, I think it's kind of about the progression thing. They also go a lot. They go really in depth when it comes to Bloom in here, which I
Yeah,
thought was kind of odd because like yeah, we all kind of understand what Bloom is,
yeah. They
but
got really technical
But
with
I think it's
Bloom.
because like I mentioned to you, Pat, before the podcast here, was saying that like I think the reason why they went so in depth about what Bloom does, so then catch everyone up to date what Bloom is, first of all, and then second of all, they also help provide reasoning why they chose like vanilla title update and like no Bloom for specific types of playlists as well. As they said, like Riftball, Faction, and Invasion are all going to be using vanilla all other social modes are going to be using title update, and then the hardcore rank settings for 4v4 are going to be using zero bloom, no sprint, which I think is probably the right way to go about it. You know, some people are like, and also campaign apparently is going to be using title update settings as well.
Nice.
But some people I've heard a lot of people go like, oh, why just go like no bloom for everything? And I'm like, that would be awful.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Imagine
I've had people
like,
comment.
Yeah, because basically your DMR would just turn into like a 5 rounds, sniper rifle.
Just, yeah.
Be absurd.
Like the time to kill, like the game, it would so negatively impact big like maps, like invasion modes, things like that. Somebody commented like, dude, we need zero bloom in invasion. I'm like, no, you don't.
No,
you don't realize what you're asking for.
Yeah. Oh god.
It would suck being an elite in that. You would just, oh god, it would be terrible.
Or just if you want to do no bloom, set the bloom to a wider standard, and so then you might have to, so it wouldn't bloom when you shoot, but like the reticle would be like wider set, but then people would probably still complain. I think because Reach tried something else different, try to do hit scan without having it being like laser beams. It was kind of an odd compromise that they tried coming up with after the complaints during Halo 3 about the BR feeling really inconsistent
like trash
in that game. And so Bungie tried coming up with something different. It's a good idea on paper, right? Be able to have that consistency of hit scan, but then also have the ability to not like laser people across the map with bloom. But
it's like artificial recoil.
And there are ways you can also reduce your bloom by like crouching or different shooting techniques you can do as well to kind of get around the bloom effect as well on top of that. But I mean, people are gonna complain no matter what, I guess. If you ever crouch while using the DMR and title update, like it resets pretty dang fast.
Yeah.
Where you do have to like wait for the reset, but not to a ridiculous amount. Like if you're crouch shooting, like you can take out people pretty quick.
Another thing I wanted to mention too that is actually pretty freaking major for the foraging community, that they acknowledge that they're peeling back some of the restrictions around budgets and object type quotas from the original release. And a lot of forgers have been asking me that on a lot of videos, like, have you heard anything about the budget being increased? Because I really want to know. That's huge news. Because Reach's Forge was so good, so good.
Yeah.
Halo 5's was also really good too, but that's really exciting to see where they go. And like you said, did you show that picture of all the new stuff that they're making available in Forge?
Yeah, I already showed that picture.
But
so that's like a lot of new stuff in there. It looks awesome. Obviously, you can tell that. I'm sure you can probably tell after playing the PC version that they 343 is definitely taking advantage of the PC platform as well when it comes to Reach. Actually, for comparison, when I was playing Reach, it was taking about 70% of my CPU to play. Where then, since I'm going to be playing the Titanfall 2 campaign, I downloaded the game, played it a little bit to make sure my PC could run it. The Titanfall 2 runs way more efficiently than MCC does. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, like I was playing the game and like playing like medium to high settings on PC, and I was running about 40 to 50% CPU usage for a game that was made in 2016, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I think it's all just an Unreal Engine and just like so much background stuff holding the whole MCC together that kind of like makes it really taxing on your system. But I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah.
Even though they say you can basically run this game on a potato, but
yeah, I don't know. I have no freaking problems.
You need a pretty hardy potato to be able to run Reach. At least for me to be able to stream it as well.
That's what I was gonna say. Like Reach is one of the few games that I could stream and not sacrifice any quality on my end. Like I was streaming in 4K, like 200 something frames. But every other game, I have to take it off of 4K and lock it at like 60 or 90 max. Like usually 1080p, about 90 frames. Like Apex Legends, that's all I could stream. 1080p, 90 frames while streaming, or else I was screwed. So I don't know. Your system's freaking just does not like Reach.
With the recent Twitch support, I'm definitely gonna be able to upgrade the PC now with the Black Friday deals coming around. Thank you, Warm Dog, again. And I already mentioned it earlier, but holy crap, dude, that guy went off. But yeah, definitely gonna be able to upgrade the PC this it's Black Friday, so hopefully pick up some new hard drives, some RAM. Probably even just build a whole new PC now, which is
I'll
crazy.
build it for you. You get the parts, I'll build it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, is there anything else in the dev update you want to like touch
No, I think we
on?
should
Yeah, we
probably
kind
move
of
on from that.
spent a good amount of time on that, but that's
But
kind
it
of
was
like
huge.
that's the
It was
meat
a
and
huge update.
potatoes of this update. Of course, there's a lot more to
Yeah.
go into, guys, if you want to. I'm sure Pat and I will definitely make our own videos, kind of going more in depth about the whole
Definitely.
thing as well.
Yep,
So I guess the next thing we can move on to is the skill gap in Halo 5, which I think is
Yes,
rather.
you want to take the lead on that one?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. Menke recently went on Twitter and kind of posted up a few things, just kind of showing the some interesting stats when it comes to Halo 5. Now, I'm sure this is what kind of takes into consideration with other Halo games as well in general, but he showed, I'll go to the desktop here so you guys can kind of see. I recently posted a thing saying like, this is a list of most to least amount of skill gap when it comes to each game mode. So basically, since we all know the MMR rules everything in Halo 5, so basically the higher up on the list right here, the highest MMR to the lowest MMR, that's the biggest gap. And then that creates that skill gap. And so then which mode has the biggest skill gap? Number one being Team Arena, which I could totally understand that, just because it's like it's the sweaty mode to play. And so then people are, you're gonna have like your pro players playing the mode, and your girls are gonna have like your casual friends who just like playing that mode as well. Like, I understand that one. Surprisingly big team battle, number 2 on the list for biggest skill gap, which out of all the modes in Halo 5, BTB being the second most widest range of skill, which I can kind of understand that, because you do have your very dedicated players who play just BTB with their group of friends and like 6 or 8, and they just stomp on casuals like me and Pat, just trying to have some fun.
Filthy casuals.
And then you had Free For All, which is, again, I can see that one too, since Free For All probably, besides Team Arena, probably being the second most competitive mode, I'd say, in Halo 5. H3 Throwback, Elimination, 2v2, Sniper, SWAT, Slayer, and then I don't want these different variations of Slayer. I'm guessing these might be like different maps on Slayer that they probably took in consideration. But that's kind of an interesting look. And then also provide here a percentage breakdown of where players are falling within the different skill brackets, as you know, like Onyx, Diamond, Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze, and things like that. And so for each playlist, so you can see like in Slayer, 4% of the player base is in Onyx, 22% in Diamond, 39% Platinum, 26% of the player base in Gold, 7% in Silver, 1% in Bronze. Which I've always which I thought that kind of seems about right, at least from my experience as well. So basically, if you're in Diamond or above, you're above average player. So
yeah,
keep that in mind, guys. You're doing just fine. If you're a Platinum player, you're really about average. And then Gold, you're like a little bit below. I've always kind of felt like Platinum to Gold's been a little bit more of like the average player base, and Silver to Bronze are like, you need some help.
Jeez. What are you trying to say about Jimbo?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah. So I've always kind of wondered what it would be like to be playing in a Gold playlist or a Bronze. I mean, a Bronze tier game. But I think Bronze is probably more like that protected bracket, of players. So then either people have like disabilities or people who, are first time ever playing a shooter kind of thing. It's like kind of a bit of a protection there for those players, so that you don't get matched up against Diamonds who are just like, you're dead.
Yeah.
But they all kind of seem to break up about the same amount of percentage, besides head to head, which had 19% in Silver compared to everything else being in single digits. That was kind of interesting to break down right there. But most part, they all kind of fell within that same line. So if you're in Onyx, you're basically the top 5% of players. If you're in Diamond, you're basically top 20%. Then Platinum, you're about top 40. Gold, you're about top 80. Am I working this math right? Oh no, I'm cold. I have a cold. I can't think straight.
Yeah, I wasn't even considering math.
But
I can't even math.
I always find like analytical information like that of player behavior and just like player breakdown, like the population. I always find that stuff kind of interesting. So
Yeah,
you
it's definitely
know,
interesting.
if you're still playing Halo 5, now you know exactly where you stand on the skill level. 'Cause everyone likes to view themselves as a beast Halo player, you know,
Yeah.
but how good are you really? And for me, I'm about top 20, top 25%.
Yeah, and Slayer,
Sometimes,
I've usually been an Onyx, so that's like that's
yeah.
very affirming to me. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's like,
awesome.
yeah, you're top 4% then if you're able to hit Onyx.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I thought that was
I
pretty
think this
dang
season
cool.
I was Diamond though. I went down to Diamond like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm usually like Diamond 1 to Diamond 4 for most of my
Yeah,
ranks. So at least I'm happy with as long as I'm in Diamond. I feel like that's a
yeah,
respectable rank. You're like, you know
yeah,
what you're doing.
yeah.
And
Definitely.
if you're Onyx and above, I'm like, okay, you're a good player.
Yeah.
Like you know
And
what
then
you're
Champ
doing.
is like, oh my god.
Yeah, Champ is
It's crazy how big the gap is from like Onyx to Champ, like just
yeah.
how good they are,
I'm assuming that I'm assuming that they're throwing Champ into the Onyx rank as well, since Champ is
Yeah,
basically
it's just like high tiered Onyx.
yeah high tier Onyx, the top 200 of Onyx.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I find that stuff interesting at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. Otherwise, then I think we can just jump over to the cut content and
Yeah, let's
EE.
get to the
I thought it
C
was pretty
cut
interesting.
for.
Do you want to lead this one here, Pete?
Yeah, I could lead this one. So, Marcus Leto, you guys may have heard that name. He was one of the, he's not with 343 or anybody anymore, but one of the um, basically main designers at Bungie back in the day. He was like the one of the main guys who created Halo. Big name. He's got his own indie studio now. Isn't he coming out with that new game that I forgot the name of it, but it looked really interesting.
Oh God,
Um,
why am I blanking on that?
I am blanking out, but it looks like a very cool game. But
uh,
basically, he tweeted out
Disintegration.
some
That's the name of it.
yes,
I
disintegration.
played it
Yes,
twice at PAX. It was a fun game. I really enjoyed
yeah,
it.
yeah. It looks really cool. So looking forward to it. He shared some because, as everybody know, you guys have probably heard the fail about the Tesla freaking truck, and I remember he had said that the original model of the Warthog, like it looked like the low poly model of the original Warthog from CE.
I've seen some
So
memes of
he,
that going around.
oh, that's so funny. So he basically tweeted out the design for the Warthog and other vehicles that we've never seen before, including Forerunner vehicles and a look at the Arc from Halo CE. So I think it's just crazy to think that not 343 Bungie was planning this far ahead with Halo. Like they had Forerunner vehicles. I think that's like really interesting. Some
Hmm.
of it looks like I mean, you were talking about it before the podcast. Like some of this stuff looks like an ATST from Star Wars, like something that stands up and walks or something. Like there's some really wonky looking stuff in there. But it's always interesting. Like it's been happening a lot lately. A lot of cutting room floor stuff that's been just getting drip fed to us by Halo. You know, we had cut maps as a
Hmm.
topic. We got vehicles now that didn't make it. Very interesting stuff. What are your where there's like even a jet in there somewhere? Like it looks like a jet.
I'm watching the video right now on stream. Like it's seeing the vehicle physics. I'm just like, oh God, I remember those Warthog physics in
Oh my
CE.
gosh, yeah,
You
so
didn't mention
funny.
that going prone was even like an option in the
Yeah,
early
yeah.
builds of CE as well. I'm gonna
Which
check out this other
is,
video here
I
showing off
mean,
some of the vehicles.
yeah, Halo went through several iterations before it finally came out. Those who know the history of it, you know, it was originally an RTS, then like a third person shooter, and then eventually went to first person. So there's a lot of changes that happened. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. Seeing Chief go prone in front of the Warthog was really cool.
If you can call it
Seeing
chief,
the
it's like a
yeah,
wireframes.
yeah, exactly.
But you can kind of make out like what the idea, what they were trying to accomplish with that. But I definitely have seen like concept art of like some old Forerunner vehicles, which they were very like kind of like smooth, simplistic kind of like style that they kept within like the architecture of the they kind of mashed
Yeah,
some of the vehicles and stuff like that. My guess is that they probably just didn't have enough time to implement Forerunner stuff logically into like the campaign, which back in 2001, having a good campaign was like what made your game good.
yeah,
And so they probably, I'm sure, just probably didn't have enough time to implement it properly. But some of the stuff that I did have seen, like concept art, and also just watching this wireframe stuff, it's just interesting to kind of know that the scope of what they were looking to try to do originally when it came to CE C
Even
and
that
Halo
thing
2.
next to the Walker looking thing even looks like one of the tanks from Star Wars and like Attack of the Clones and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Like it,
totally.
you could definitely tell the sci-fi inspirations, which I think is really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, just thought that was so seeing that kind of stuff. I always find just so cool. Like I always loved like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. Like I always watch it when it comes to, like movies or
Yeah,
games as well. Like I remember like Halo 2 like collector's
the
edition,
Vidocs
whatever.
and all that.
Yeah, and all the Vidocs. I always love seeing like the behind the scenes stuff. I always thought that stuff
Yeah,
was just so cool.
yeah.
Um, if we imagine what it would be like, what do you think like the weapons would have been like if they had Forerunner weapons and vehicles in sea? Like, would they have shot like lasers or something? Like, do you think they would have been able to animate that properly back in
Uh,
2001?
Probably not, and I probably why a lot of that stuff was cut. They probably weren't happy with the way it was portrayed as far
Mm,
as you know, like Forerunner stuff. It still boggles my mind that they thought about stuff like that. Like they had crafted this world so far in advance. Like a lot of people just think like, oh, they just threw this stuff together as a go. No, they had a set out plan,
mm,
and that is just awesome that any human can just imagine this world as big as Halo, this universe, and be able to tell stories like that, and have that imagination for different factions and stuff. I just think that was awesome. But
yeah.
yeah, Promethean, I almost called it Promethean. Forerunner weapons would have been crazy. I don't want it like Ian from Halo can be like, "What you just said, Promethean."
Oh god,
uh,
yeah. But I only meant, yeah, that would be interesting to see how they would have been able to pull off like Forerunner
yeah,
weapons and vehicles back, and then with it being different enough from like Covenant to make it really work.
I think it would be.
But I think also just kind of like I think it kind of fits the theme as well, though, that like with what they did with C and making like the Forerunners like this ancient race that are super mysterious. You don't know much about them.
Yeah,
I think not letting the player interact with their technology, but having like in the story kind of overarching everything as that mythology, I guess what you could say to them.
yeah, mythology.
It's
Yeah,
where like you just see it, it's there, it's all around you, but you don't understand it.
exactly.
And so that I think kind of adds to that aesthetic of like the Forerunners being like these free, technological advanced human civilization that's just like how could they have such high technology, but then not
Dude,
even exist anymore?
you're speaking to me right now, dude. You're speaking. You ever watch the show Ancient Aliens on Netflix or anything? Dude,
um,
it
aliens.
aliens. Like they talk about stuff like that all the time. Like, they're uncovering cities to this day. They're like, dude, our power tools now couldn't even make these perfect 90-degree angles and stuff that they were doing, or like the pyramids, how those were built. And like
Mm.
these advanced civilizations that
Magnets, how do they
somehow,
work?
yeah, what's the deal with those? Like stuff like that is really interesting and it speaks to me. Like even if I don't believe in things like that, it's still interesting to hear
Mm.
theories and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it, the I was gonna say ominousity, but that I know damn well that's not where how ominous the Forerunners
Mm.
are in the Bungie trilogy was really cool, and it was a very much different design than what 343 has gone ahead with. So yeah, it would have been really cool to see.
Yeah, and I think that's what made that moment in Halo 4 so huge when you got to like actually meet the librarian.
Yeah,
Like she
and the
was
didact
the
and all
didact
that.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that, having those like Forerunners. I think they kind of like threw them in there a little too soon. At least the didact
yeah,
or something like that. Where I felt like it's just like, yeah, the Forerunners, they're in. Let's go,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Where it's
Do it.
like I think introducing the Forerunners into Halo as like a character in the story is something you need to kind of like gradually let in, kind of like how like Game of Thrones kind of eventually kind of let the White Walkers more and more into the show. Where at the
Yeah,
end you're literally fighting against them, kind of thing.
yeah,
So maybe a little bit more of a build up would have probably been nice for such a monolithic um, faction within Halo. But that's all. That's my opinion, at least on that one. But seeing, knowing that, and especially I was like seeing all like the cut content you see in like in Halo 2, like there's so much cut content in Halo 2 from the crazy
yeah.
development. Like they said, they have to basically scrap the entire game and made it all within like a
Start
year.
over. Yeah,
Insane. I can't imagine how terrible that must have been.
yeah,
Of course, then they did the same thing for Destiny 2 as well, or Destiny 1 as well. So I guess that's just how Bungie works.
yeah, yeah. Definitely.
But I guess we're ready to move over to Blood Gulch in Unreal
Yeah.
4, which
Yeah.
I thought was freaking cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, so basically someone out there on the internet decided to go in and recreate Blood Gulch in Unreal 4, which is like that same engine that 343 is using to do all the armor renderings and stuff like that. It Reach's armor, which if you guys not seen, look amazing.
Beautiful.
Seeing Reach's armor sets and just like high texture, high resolution just looks so nice. And basically this person, his name is Quixel. He posted this up on the Halo Reddit, and so I occasionally kind of scroll through that and I saw this. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. So let's kind of open up the video here so you guys can kind of see what we're looking at here, and then we kind of just go to talking more about it, what his process was behind the whole thing. But just like, look at that, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, it's
my
absolutely
god,
gorgeous. It looks like a painting almost.
he really does. Like I said, he did mention like basically he had like a art project and then working in Unreal 4, and he had to basically just kind of recreate something. So he's like, well, I do love me some Halo, so let's recreate Blood Gulch in Unreal 4 engine from scratch, and like did all the training and block shading. What do you call it again?
Cell shading?
Cell shading, yeah, where it's just like grayed out kind of thing using reference images and things like that. And going into the video, he just goes into detail talking about like each step that he did when it came to putting together this map, and utilizing the various variations of Blood Gulch as well within Halo to kind of combine them all together into what he would like to see envisioned as the game as well. Even mentioned even using some concept art as well on top of that. And what kind of
like if you still that, it looks like a piece of concept art. Like it's pretty dope.
And mainly he did it for like the aesthetics of everything to make it look nice, but also he said did have in mind like the functionality as well. I don't know how well this map would perform like under multiplayer kind of things or anything like that, but yeah, it's more just kind of like a work of art kind of thing that you put together. I thought that the rock geometry they did kind of look a little bit more like Apex Legends kind of style to me, at least. Like they're so like crazy and outrageous when the rock formations that it looks like almost like unnatural in a way, is in my opinion. But again, that kind of might add to that sci-fi feel of the map, which I think. Yeah. And plus, especially since like this box canyon that Blood Gulch is in is not exactly a natural feature really as well.
Formation.
Yeah, this is a natural formation. No shit, Cortana. But it just looks so cool. I just really wanted to share it with everybody, just kind of show it off.
The foliage, let me make sure I pronounce that right, looks really cool, especially with like the wind blowing on it and stuff. And then like I'm a big Zelda fan, so a lot of Zelda fans like do remakes of Zelda levels in Unreal Engine 4, and I'm like a sucker for watching Zelda. Yeah, there's some really cool videos of like Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine 4, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm like, Nintendo, just do this, please. Like, just remake it with these kind of graphics. So seeing somebody do Halo now in Unreal Engine 4, yeah, that speaks to me. I'm a sucker for these kind of videos, but this guy went like super in depth, which is really cool. I've never seen a video where they actually like show how they made it, so that was very interesting to see.
A lot of it was kind of over my head when it comes like all the different, because I never worked
in
Unreal 4, but if you work in Unreal 4, you'd probably understand what the hell he was talking about. Right. Same thing with like coding as well. You're like, I can understand what you're trying to do. I don't understand how you're doing it, but I like it.
Right. I like what I see.
Yeah, it just looks so cool that I had to share it with everybody on this. Now, do you think Halo Infinite would be able to pull out this level of amazingness? Because obviously they're gonna have limitations with the console, but they do say their console's gonna be able to do 120 frames or 8K, or 120 frames and 8K.
It'll be 4K 60, and Infinite will be 4K 60, no higher than that, but. It's going to be developed for Xbox One and Xbox One X as well. So I guess it would be varying levels of detail that they can do on each platform. But I mean, Blood Gulch for today's standards isn't that big of a map. So I could see that level of detail, especially on next gen being playable. He didn't really go into the details of frame rate wise, how it impacted.
Yeah.
But But yeah, I could definitely see that level of detail in Infinite, depending on how big the maps are and stuff. But
It,
yeah,
it definitely
it's
will be interesting to
exciting.
see how game development is for the next console because generation. Just because obviously, even when it comes to PC games as well, unless you're developing just for the PC, that console is always going to be kind of holding back the PC
Yeah,
when it comes to that, and
yeah.
you always have to code and create your game for the lowest common denominator, which is
Hmm.
most likely going to be the new consoles. That's why I've
Yeah,
never bothered to upgrade from an Xbox One, just because like they're gonna have to make the game to run on that platform no matter what. So it's gonna
yeah,
hold back the visuals, and we definitely come across that a lot, especially with the new Call of Duty, where it's like I think on the original Xbox One, the game is like 90 gigs or something like that. Where if you're playing Xbox One X, it's like almost 200.
yeah.
And the frame performance is definitely there. Playing Ground War on Modern Warfare on the original Xbox is a little framey at say
Yeah.
the least. But yeah, that stuff is just so cool. I had to share that with everybody.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean they always do stuff. I mean Destiny 1 had that problem,
mhm.
being developed for the 360 and stuff as well. The vault space, all that stuff, was a hindrance on the game. But you have to consider everybody, So
Mm.
I mean, there's definitely big jumps from even console to PC or the Xbox One, Xbox One X. So it's possible, but like you said, there's always gonna be that crutch that you have to develop for the lowest common denominator. So
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we'll be excited to see some stuff on Infinite.
I guess move over to some Halo 5 and MCC playlist updates.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, so you want to lead off with the Halo 5 goodness?
Oh, Halo 5 goodness. Yes. So Halo 5 active right now was they did a refresh on Big Team Battle Fiesta. So that was pretty fun. Forerunner Slayer is currently active right now. That rotated in for Triple Team. That is your featured playlist right now. And I believe the Fiesta was still getting out double XP. So they're both featured next week, November 26th. It's going to be Action Sack rotating in for CE Anniversary Throwback, and Warzone Turbo is going live for the holiday weekend holiday over here in the United States. It's going to be Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward to that. Have a 4-day weekend next weekend. Got to try to grind out some more Halo. So definitely be, I guess, playing Action Sack.
Hey, I have some good modes in Action Sack though. Like it can be it
Yeah.
can be a pretty fun mode.
Yeah, I
Uh,
just want rock and rail back so I can make big progress,
oh
big
god,
gains,
yeah.
bro.
That Rock and Roll's been gone for a while, dude. Like it
Yeah,
hasn't
and
been
it's
here.
like not even on the schedule. Like, what
Yeah.
the hell, 343? If you're listening, please.
That's like, cause that's the playlist to grind if you're trying to get that 152, 100%. Like there's no better playlist than that one. That
Yeah,
or maybe
yeah.
maybe SWAT if they ever made that double XP, which I don't see that happening every time soon.
The XP gains of SWAT are terrible though. Like I get
Really?
like 1200 for a full game of SWAT. So even if that was double XP, that's just freaking awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you want to talk about MCC playlist update? Let's see.
It's
Yeah,
a little update when it comes to
little.
this. So they said that they removed last podcast or a couple podcasts ago we were mentioned about how Rocket Race came into
Yeah,
MCC.
yeah, it was like
Well,
2 podcasts
yeah, I
ago.
actually had to rotate that out.
Ugh.
Sadly, Rocket Race is a kind of a fanfare. I remember Rocket Race being huge back in like the original Halo 3 days.
Yeah, Halo
You know,
3, it was huge.
I remember back in college. That's when I was in college, and then like my brother or my neighbors who don't really play games, but they're like they've played some before, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my friend, we were like playing around like these little like ATVs with like rockets. It was so much fun." I'm like, "Oh, Rocket Race! Well, it has its own
Rocket
playlist right
Race.
here." Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a really popular mode back when the game first came out.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I played a little bit on the MCC, and it's fun. You know,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's all right.
a little bit of a back end kind of 4v4 social change. You heard that they are disabling partial team matching in 4v4 social. I'm guessing because they recently added that in, but then I guess now they're removing that. I'm guessing just probably because of low population and things like that. Like people are playing in parties are basically just sitting forever to find a match, which
Yeah.
obviously you don't want to have happen. And
No.
with population MCC, yeah, it makes sense to kind of have that out in the wild, play your own risk, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely noticed that when I was playing with Jim on the MCC. We played some social matches with him and I. And I think once we added in Worm Dog for a couple games, we definitely did start matching against more parties. Like I'm sure it's favorable, but they definitely like I try to keep solo queue players safe, just due to the low population and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
I guess after that, that's pretty much all that's going on with the MCC updates right there. No new plays or anything like that. So I guess we move over to the show and right here get right pay it.
Yeah. Let's close it out here, people.
Close it out.
So it's been real. 19 episodes down. We will be back next weekend for the, episode 20. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. We kind of really didn't have too much to talk about this week except for that blog post. So we're gonna be gearing up for Halo Reach. Less, like we said, a week and a half away. Me and Kevin will be covering it extensively throughout the month of December. So stay tuned to our channels. And if you're wondering where you could find us, oh, well, thank you guys so much for asking about that. You could find me at the Patman Gaming, lovingly put underneath me in video form here. So if you're listening on Spotify or on Podbean, Twitter will be the Patman Gaming, Instagram the Patman Gaming, Twitch the Patman Gaming. And if you're looking to find me on YouTube to stay up to date on all your latest Halo news, you type in Patman Gaming in the search bar and you'll find me. You do it.
You with all your recent Halo news.
You underestimate the power of the dark side. Speaking of Star Wars, I'm all caught up on The Mandalorian. It's awesome.
I watched a new episode today. It was great.
It was really good. So where can people find Mr. Kevin Cool?
As you can watch on the screen right here, at KevinKoolx Halo on Twitter. You can find me there. YouTube.com/user/KevinKoolx. Instagram, KevinKoolx. Twitch, KevinKoolx as well. Links to all that stuff will be in the show notes and in the description of this YouTube video as on top of that. Discord as well, link there as well. On top of that, I got a Facebook page if you want to check it out. I've been on Instagram. I've been trying to get some new content out there with the guys. I got some spicy memes on there, getting some attention. Some what else? Some Twitch clips and some armor screenshots I was able to take on the Reach flight before it closed out as well. If you want to get to that content first, check me on Twitter and Instagram for all that good stuff there. I'll have to make a video, probably spread out the content a little bit since that update. That dev update that we recently did get is the last dev update of the year. So we won't really be hearing much in December, but I think it's because a lot of people going on vacation and stuff like that. And, spending time with their families, which, how dare they?
Wow.
We need Halo.
Should be making video games.
Yeah.
What are you doing 343? Priorities, come on.
But yeah. So got all that good stuff coming in. Like I said, on Tuesday I will be streaming the Titanfall campaign. Maybe even just all next week.
We'll might tune into that.
Yeah, because I definitely want to give that a go. Because I've only heard amazing things, and after playing like the Call of Duty campaign, I'm like, I kind of miss playing shooter campaigns because I like nice little condensed little nuggets of awesomeness.
I know I've been freaking preaching Titanfall 2 to you, but I don't remember if you did you play Infinite Warfare's campaign? Because I know Raps finally caved in and bought it, and he loved it. So you still need to do that. You need to go play Infinite Warfare's campaign for real.
Yeah, if it's on a good Steam sale, I might look into it. Yeah,
it might be. I'll look into it for you. I'll see if I can find it cheap for you.
Is it just Jon Snow walking around going like, I don't want it?
You'll like it. I know
Jon Snow, you have to go out into space. I don't want it. My queen.
My queen. Oh, man. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming by the podcast, episode 19. Another episode in the books. Patman with his Batman hoodie. You guys are listening on this. You need to see this. This is just ridiculous.
I'm Batman.
But yeah, thanks everyone watching. Greatly appreciate it. And make sure to check out the next videos. Check us out on Podbean and Spotify as well if you want to check out just the audio version so you don't have to waste your phone battery while watching this video. There's always updated, even a little bit early actually. Sometimes we update those. But thanks for watching, guys, and listening in. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll catch you all in the next episode.